Hello everyone, welcome to our kitchen. Today we've got something very special indeed. We're going to be cooking one of Italy's finest dishes and putting a very special Scottish twist on it. So here we have some freshly made dough that I made yesterday. This is a kind of standard Neapolitan pizza style dough from Naples, although I've made some tweaks specifically for this recipe. Mainly made it a little bit firmer, a little bit more rigid, some extra strong bread flour in there as well as the traditional Tipo 00. And the reason for that will become clear very soon. So we're just going to stretch this out. It's not going to be super big. We're going to have quite a small pizza. Again, for this specific Scottish twist that I'm talking about, it needs to be relatively small. So we're just going to stretch this out like so. Okay, so here we have our pizza. Come in and have a look at this. What we're going to do now is add our tomato sauce, fairly standard tomato sauce. Here we have tinned plum tomatoes, San Marzano Italian ones are the best. We also have some basil, some garlic, some olive oil, a little bit of salt. Some people also put sugar in it. If the tomatoes aren't great, it helps it be a bit sweeter, but we have good tomatoes, so we've not put much sugar in it at all. So we're just going to put, as you would with any other normal pizza, a reasonable amount of tomato sauce, but not too much because you don't want to drown it. It makes it very difficult to actually get in and out of the oven. So there we have it. That's just dough with tomato sauce. Now, let's talk cheese. Very important part of any pizza. Now, normally with a pizza, I would always recommend going for buffalo mozzarella, fresh Italian mozzarella. It's rich, it's creamy, it's the best stuff that you can really buy, and it's the best to put on pizza. Today though, we're not going to use that. We're going to depart and we're going to do a bit of blasphemy to the Italians, because we're actually going to mainly use this sort of dehydrated, pre-shredded mozzarella stuff that you get in the supermarket. Now there's very good reason why I'm using this and not the good mozzarella, and you'll see very soon. But we're going to start by putting on some freshly grated Parmigiano Reggiano. Just adds that extra bit of flavour, I think. It's not essential, but I always think it adds that extra touch. We're then going to follow up with some of this sort of pre-shredded mozzarella. This is the kind of stuff that you will often find on pizzas from American takeaway places and in supermarkets. It's okay, but it's not the best of stuff. We're then going to add just a little bit of this good mozzarella, just because it seems absolutely disgraceful not to add any at all. But there is a good reason why we're not using this, which will become clear, because it doesn't really work with what I'm about to do with this pizza. Nonetheless, a little bit is not going to do any harm. Okay, so there we have our cheese, which is, as I said, Parmigiano Reggiano, this shredded mozzarella, and then the fresh Italian mozzarella. Now, this is where we have the Scottish twist, the first Scottish twist, I should say. So we're going to add in something delicious, haggis. So it's Scotland's national dish. Not everyone has a good impression of it. It's basically lots of parts of a sheep, the kind of lungs and the heart, various other things with oatmeal and spices. But it's actually really nice, and it's actually very nice on a pizza. And so as far as I'm going for this Italian-Scottish fusion, we had to have a bit of haggis on there. So we're not going to put a huge amount. We're just going to put a little bit here and there. And it gives that quite sort of nice, spicy flavour to a pizza in a way that people, a lot of people like putting pepperoni or chili or anything like that. And this is just a different way. And as I say, don't be put off by what's in haggis. It's actually really nice. Okay, secondly, we're now just going to put in, we have here these are just red onions, which were just caramelised for ages, just in some butter and olive oil and a bit of sugar. They're just kind of sweet. And they just go nice with the haggis, I think. So we're just going to put a little bit of this on, not too much, just a little bit of sweetness, goes really nicely. Perfect. Now, come and have a look. Doesn't look like much just now. I realise it looks fairly basic, and that's kind of intentional. We're just going to jazz it up with a bit of Italian herbs here with some fresh basil, just to make it look a little bit better. But we are basically done with our prep for this pizza. The next stage is the cooking, or I should say the first stage of the cooking, because this is going to be a double cooked pizza, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. Okay, so we have this. Now we're going to put it on the pizza peel, and then we're going to take it outside and we're going to put it in our uni pizza oven. Okay, so now we have our pizza, and to be honest, that looks good to eat. Normally you would eat it like that, but today we're going to do something a little bit different, because we're going to make a pizza crunch. Now, pizza crunch is, I would say, one of Scotland's probably most famous dishes alongside haggis, and this is something you get at a chip shop. It's basically a pizza put in batter and then deep fried, and it sounds like it might be a little bit disgusting, but it's actually delicious. Normally though, the kind of pizzas that you get in a pizza crunch, they're like the cheapest, most basic frozen pizzas that come in a packet. And although, you know, that they are actually delicious. But today I thought I'd honour the Italians by making a fresh pizza and then doing a pizza crunch with it, which I've never done before. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this cool down a bit. We're going to dip it in batter, then we're going to put it in the deep fryer, and it'll cook in just a couple of minutes. And now you'll see why I've made the dough a little bit firmer than the normal Neapolitan dough, which is really soft because it probably fall apart in the fryer. Similarly, why we use this cheese rather than the good cheese, and that's simply because the good mozzarella, it often makes the pizza quite wet. And obviously if you have a really wet pizza, going in batter and then frying again, it all just kind of falls apart. So having it kind of quite solid is exactly what we need. So let's get battered. Okay, so I've made up some basic batter mix here, kind of standard chip shop stuff, flour, water, etc. And we're basically going to cut the pizza in half. We're going to dip it in that batter, get it really nice and covered, and then we're going to deep fry it for just a couple of minutes, and then we're going to let it sit. Now, pizza crunch is a kind of staple food. Many people in school, when I was at school, many people eat one of these every single day. And I'm pretty sure in terms of calories per pence, there's rarely been a food quite as good value as this. The chip shop near my school did a competition. The first kid there every day got one for free, but for everyone else it was only £1. So if you think about how many calories you're getting, this is half pizza deep fried with chips, remember, for £1. It's pretty incredible stuff. So we're going to do our best to replicate this. So here's our pizza we made earlier. I'm going to cut this in half, like so. And we're going to take this one, I reckon, and we're going to basically just dip it and cover it as best as we can in this batter, which is a messy job, always is. And then we're going to just let it drip. And we're going to take it onto this plate. And now we're going to deep fry it, and we're going to get it nice and crisp, and then we're going to eat it. Okay, so we've had the pizza in the fryer for about 3 to 4 minutes, and this is what it looks like. Now, you might well be thinking it looks much worse than it did before it went in. And you're probably right, but wait until you see how it tastes. So if you remember, this is just a basic pizza dough, tomato sauce, standard, bit of parmesan, bit of mozzarella, haggis, some red onion caramelized down, cooked in the uni pizza oven just for like a minute or so, and then let it cool a bit, and then we've deep fried it in some really nice batter. And I'll tell you what, am I looking forward to trying this. Now, it's not quite finished yet because you always have a sauce, some kind of sauce with it. Now in the west of Scotland they have salt and vinegar, which is pretty boring and pretty dull. Here in the east coast we have this stuff, which is, it's called Chippy Sauce, and no one really knows exactly what it is. It's kind of vinegary brown stuff, but you put it on everything deep fried in the chippy, and so particularly a pizza crunch, it's absolutely delicious. And so we're just going to end by just drizzling it like so, and so we're just going to now get some. I mean, you can use a cutlery, but again, you wouldn't normally do this, and so we're just going to bite into it as best we can, let this dribble all over it. And if you just want to come in and have a close look. Now, I've not had one of these in a very, very long time, but cheers. Here's to Italy. Here's to Scotland. Wow. Wow. That's absolutely delicious. You get the crunch that you get from a pizza crunch and that oil, but surprisingly, that you don't usually get with a pizza crunch. You get kind of real cheese and nice tomato sauce and a half decent pizza base compared to the usual frozen stuff. Wow, the haggis really adds that spice, the onion, that sweetness. It's still quite hot. Could do with letting it cool down for a bit longer. Wow, I can confidently say that's the best pizza crunch I've ever had. And you know what? It might also be one of the best pizzas I've ever had. Okay. Okay, folks. That's all for today. If you want to see the full recipe for this, I'll leave it in the description. You do want to try this at home, I can guarantee it. And we'll see you next time.
So?
Yep.